Hello, everyone. My name is Stella Nyongesa, and I'm here just to talk to you about an interesting project that we had here at Strathmore University Business School. And I currently have two roles I play. A role in the academia where I teach on the postgraduate programs, but I also have an administrative role where I'm the director for graduate programs. Basically, as an academic, I love teaching, I love engaging with students, I love new knowledge, imparting and also sharing, receiving. So it's always a joy for me to be in class. The project that I would like to talk to you about is an intercultural virtual exchange project, which we held in the first semester for the Master of Commerce program on 2022. And it was held between the Strathmore University Master of Commerce students and the Kent University Master's students at the business school, University of Kent. And it was quite interesting, and yeah, I'm eager to share what went on in that program. So we organized for an online intercultural exchange, and this project then took place. It required, of course, preparatory works on both sets of students, and we gave them the guidelines on what to prepare. We came up with the idea as a result of a research project we're working on with Dr. Mwiti. And in the course of our discussion, we came to realize that we are handling both master's students and in the same semester. And I inquired from her, is there something we can do, just to bring the learning from across the globe, for the two groups of students? And she was like, yes, this is something that would be worthwhile. And she began sharing, in fact, what happens at Kent, and it sounded similar to what we do at the business school to encourage that global exposure to our students. So we said, let us do something that within our field that is of interest, and we thought then of this topic, marketing across cultures. And so that is how the idea was born. We settled on using local companies, but successful, well-established Kenyan firms, which are doing well in marketing, but they do incorporate the Kenyan culture in their marketing strategies. So they actually proposed the companies that they would like to work with because they felt these companies will showcase well the Kenyan culture. And that way we formed two teams, and in each of the teams, they took up one company and they prepared the project, the presentation, and appointed their spokesperson who on that day then presented on behalf of the team. They did a lot of desktop because of the timing that was involved, but a lot of this information is in the public domain, so it was not difficult to acquire information around them. But I know, of course, going forward, in fact, that is perhaps one of the things that could inform the next project, where we would design it in such a manner that the companies during the project are also involved, so that multi-stakeholders are put together to enrich the whole experience. One of the sessions, of course, having discussed with Frida, then each of us went to our students just to share with them the idea we had. They were very excited, and they proposed that they needed to prepare a project that showcases the Kenyan cultural marketing practices, which are unique, which capture the Kenyan culture, so that it demonstrates the various aspects of our culture and how they do influence marketing strategy here. So they came up with local companies, but quite successful, and do embrace aspects of the Kenyan culture. I feel that it serves as an innovation of internationalization at home, because what happened is we brought international experience to our students, but at home. They did not have to travel to a country abroad to experience foreign culture, but instead we experienced the UK culture from here. And as a university, as a business school, we are keen to have that global exposure to our students in a number of ways, because yes, some groups do pay visits abroad, but there are some groups that may not be able to do this. And therefore, it was a beautiful opportunity to have my class to experience this foreign culture through the Kent University. From the feedback I got from the students, they are extremely excited to have seen a clear contrast between the culture in the UK when it comes to being applied in the marketing, which instead differs from what we do back here at home. So it was quite an eye-opener of what we tend to teach strategists to be careful to incorporate the cultures of the markets in which they're operating, lest they either offend the market or they end up failing in one or another. So whereas certain perspectives in the UK, which seem to demonstrate that that's how they behave, those are the consumer preferences, it would not then work here in Kenya. So the students were really happy with that revealing information. I think this is the kind of thing which universities need to begin to embrace and not focus on just the traditional lectures and, being stuck with the four-walled kind of learning, but to open up, and the opening up can be done in many ways, including such virtual cultural exchanges with other universities. And this we can do through showcasing such a project, for instance, at a forum, and talk about it, because then it helps other universities see that there is a different model for learning in this modern time. Advice is it's a worthwhile experience, not just for the faculty, but also for the students, because it gets them to think about their current environment and apply the knowledge they are learning in class to showcase the cultural side of marketing strategies. So I would highly encourage staff and students to embrace such projects. It perhaps also gets students to somehow get contacts or new knowledge, which can help them going forward in the future. So yeah, I highly recommend. I mean, across the board, not necessarily in business, I think this would still be extremely relevant. Remember, there's so much to learn, for instance, from the technological development aspect, where the developed world has a lot to learn from in terms of tech advancements, which we here in an emerging market can borrow ideas, can learn, and better our practices. So definitely it cuts across. It's not just for the business-oriented disciplines, but also science-oriented, social science-oriented disciplines. I would highly encourage such a project. So at this point, I would like to introduce one of my students who participated in this project in order to share with you the experience in preparing the project and in making the presentation, so that we can hear it from the students' perspective. Mathew, most welcome to share your experience.
Thank you very much. And hi, everybody. My name is Mathew Kiama. I am an MCOM student at Strathmore University. Stella is my lecturer. Dr. Stella is my lecturer in this very exciting unit. And I think I'm very fortunate to have been among this cohort that was working together with the students from Kent University to discuss issues of intercultural marketing strategies for companies that are domiciled in Kenya, as well as companies domiciled abroad, and comparing these two strategies and also exchanging ideas and just trying to understand the views and perspectives of various schools of thoughts around how companies work to become successful in foreign markets. The main benefit of all this is broadening of the mind, getting to understand how other cultures use the same theories and how they apply them to their cultures to be able to thrive in the markets that they're operating. We were able to discover very interesting ways and forms of how companies abroad come across very diverse cultures, some in Japan, some in China, some in America, and they have to go and adapt themselves to the cultural endowments of the people that they find. And no one company did we find who goes to another country or another culture to try and instill a new culture there. They go there, they want to adapt the people, how the people do it, and that is the only way, that is the only sure way that we found that companies can survive. That was our common denominator. It was a very exciting challenge, let me call it that, because one, we were taken by utter surprise, but we were very excited to be part of this challenging experience. The time was short and we wish we'd had a longer time to work on something very detailed, as what Dr. Stella has said. We would have wished even to work with the companies themselves, but the contributions we made were obviously very revealing of what we are studying in class, the concept we are learning in class, models like the Potter's model, and how different companies are applying this Potter's model. That was a very exciting exercise. We got to also learn that in some places, in some locations, in some countries, that culture is so deeply enshrined and you cannot do away with it. It actually forms part of the backbone. It's a backbone of every decision you make in every management level that you're in. You have to think about how will this decision affect the larger community in terms of culture. So the contributions we were making as students, we also found that we are also personally very culturally inclined as students. So even getting this information, we're giving it from our personal experiences, from our shopping experiences, from our interactions when we go to shopping malls, when we interact with these foreign brands who are now here. And talking of competitive advantage, we found it that companies which take cultural diversity seriously and tune their product offerings towards the cultural diversity tend to be tend to gain better competitive advantage against those who don't. We got a lot of guidance from, of course, our lecturers from the onset, from getting the right companies. We started with a large pool of companies, some of which we had to knock out because they did not have the right kind of footing, some which did not really exhibit what we really wanted to bring out, because the point here was to bring out the effect of culture in companies that are operating in different or various markets abroad. And we struck off so many companies to remain with the ones that showed the real elements that we were looking at. And much of that was left to us. We looked for data. We had to call our friends who work in those companies because now we are well networked. Some of us are in our class. In fact, we chose to work with the companies that most of our colleagues, students work for, so that we can be able to get that feel of first-hand information that we can use and that we cannot otherwise acquire on the internet or through the media. For me, the best part of this experience was hearing from my counterparts from the University of Kent and getting to hear their perception and their understanding and their experience of this and their level of, say, knowledge towards this very exciting topic. And also the realization that with globalization now, we have become a global village. It's very exciting to see that this same cultural endowments that we have affect our buying patterns, affect our consumer patterns, and they also affect our marketing strategies. And it was very fun to learn and understand what also those other students in University of Kent, how they perceive culture and how the strategies they want to employ to make it in those foreign markets. They had very good presentations, and we felt, I think we just opened a Pandora's box, because now we left, it is a very huge topic. We don't think we even we got to exhaust even half of it. And we really hope that we can get to have another discussion to expound more on the areas that we kept saying we need to find out more and more about these other companies on what they're doing. This is 1 in a million kind of chance where top universities come together to bring students to broaden their scope of understanding of intercultural linkages and the perceptions and the underlying understanding, and challenging our own thoughts, because we felt challenged, because thinking in only one way, in one domestic way, that things must operate in this particular way, it really does not help us become globally competitive. So I think to become a globally competitive student, You have to allow yourself to also expand your mind, listen to what your counterparts in other universities are doing, because the concepts are the same, but the application is different in terms of region, your geographical region. So this kind of exchanges, this kind of meetings and discussions are very healthy and enriching to our courses, the courses that we do.
Yeah, let me take this opportunity to thank Mathew for sharing those insights, giving us the students' perspective on this project. It's quite pleasant to hear that it was of high impact, and hopefully going forward, we can do a lot more. So thank you very much, Mathew, for that.
You're welcome. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for listening to my video. I hope it has been insightful, and I look forward to participating in the upcoming conference in July.